morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo, first here at Yeshiva Nafshi, Yerushalyim, HaKodesh, located on Rehov Zichron Yaakov, or Zichron Yaakov, depending how you're going to text it in. And we're located on the number 6 of Zichron Yaakov, and the Bate Knesset of Chanukah Yeshiva is not too far from the central bus station. And we're learning Pirkei Avos our first year, usually at 9 o'clock in the mornings here. We have breakfast, coffee, cakes, fruits, good stuff going here. Please join us. If you are coming from Yerushalyim, you walk from the central bus station, take a car, there's parking across the street. Buses are running on Hashem. And if you're coming from Kutzlars, please join us. We want to help enrich your visit to Yerushalyim with as much Torah as possible. So here we're at Pirkei Avos. We're learning about Shmuel Katan's statement that we should not be happy over the downfall of our enemies. And let's just review the Rabbeinu Yonah, and then we're going to go back to the Chavetz Chaim where we left off yesterday. Right? We'll just see the Rabbeinu Yonah. That's on the top of the page 2. Right? It's from the top of the lines is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down. 5 lines down. Why should you be happy? Meaning you see somebody who happens to be your enemy in some way or another, right? And you're being taught by Shmuel Katan not to be happy over his downfall, right? So Lamu Samach. Why should he be happy? Hine hu kamo. He's like you, right? We're talking about in the case that if he was a Russia, and this person is also a Russia, so they both Rishonim. So why is one Russia being happy about the downfall of another Russia? And not only that, even if the person's a tzaddik, he shouldn't be happy, even about the downfall of a Russia. Because, as we said, the only thing you can be happy about is the honor that's being brought to Hashem's name. Now that reminds me, I want to get to Sidorim here. You got to take a look at this, what's being said over here. Hold on. Thank you, Mr. You're welcome. You turn to Ma'ariv in the brachas after Shema. Speaks about, we've been getting to the Yam Suf. I'm doing my homework on that. I started as a matter of fact. So we'll be working on this. But meanwhile, we will have an opportunity every day. We say in Ma'ariv time, after we say Kriya Shema. So here, in this siddur, it's in page 190.
179 by the
Oh, yeah? Oh. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Kriya Shema is 177, right? So 179, exactly. Remuna Kol Zos, exactly. So if you look at toward the middle of page 179, right? It says here, Hamaver Banav ben Gizra Yamsu. He passed through his sons, the Klal Yisrael, through the paths in the Yamsu, right? The Es Roig Fehem, the Es Sonehim, Mis Hoimois Tiba. And those who chased after them, meaning the Klal Yisrael, and those who hated them, the Klal Yisrael, Mis Hoimois Tiba. They were confounded with it being drowned, right? Veru Banav, V'Givuroso, and meaning Banav, the children of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, the Jews, they saw the Shem's might, Givuroso, he saw their might, Shibchu V'Hodu Lishmo, and they gave praise and they were thankful, right, to his name. Meaning they praised and gave thanks to HaKodesh Baruch Hu, right? So here it says, in 2 words, what's then? This is what we're saying, the Shir Al-Yam, we say every day. The Shir Al-Yam is Shvach and Hodah, right?
Yeah, but then you go simple also.
We're going.
Besimcha Rabba v'amru kula.
Okay, now so then it comes on further, right? And it says, "Umalchuso v'rotzon kibul oleihem Moshe v'Yisrael ha'anu shira besimcha Rabba v'amru kulam." So now that's what we're going to be getting to when I bring in the
Where are you?
here.
Last lines.
Ana b'shira besimcha Rabba v'amru kulam. Right? So that's what has to be clarified. What's the simcha Rabbah that's being referred to? On what point? Because it says now it's interjecting umalchuso v'rotzon kibul aleichem. What? First of all, what's the malchuso v'rotzon kibul aleichem? What's that referring to?
V'yamin Hashem l'shavla.
Oh, that already came beforehand, right? Because it says v'amru kulam. What does it say? Right? It says micha mocha b'edim
Hashem. So that's right.
Micha mocha there HaKodesh. No, he was a big fella, right?
Yeah.
It says, "Malchusa ruvonecha." That's the Malchusa ruvonecha. Bokeh yam lifnei Moshe. Zeh keli lanbehu va'amru Hashem yimok le'yom ve'ed. That's reference to the Yam Suf, right? So it was with Simcha Rabbah, right? So
But
we
the
have
simcha is coming from in this phrase here. So v'ratzon kibul oleihem.
Moshe v'nei Yisrael. That's right.
So it's saying that they
Moshe
they
v'nei Yisrael.
receive your kingship and your will upon themselves, and for this they sang with joy.
That's right.
okay.
So it's to Hashem. It's not.
But it said turn to va'amru kulam, and they all said with Simcha Rabbah, right? What did it say? Micha mocha be'elim Hashem. Micha mocha neder b'kodesh. No yirasila sikela. Malchusa
It's all to
ruvonecha.
Hashem.
Yeah, but what was this referring? This was directed towards Hashem, correct? Right. Their joy was directed towards Hashem.
Right.
Right. Okay. Good. Very good. So we're gonna be using this as a springboard to go further in the whole question of the Yam Suf and what took place there. Okay. But just to make that, I wanted to make that point before we get further. So now let's continue back with the Rebbeinu Yonah. Right. The Rebbeinu Yonah said, why should he be happy? It says the pasuk in Mishlei, "V'lo yifel olivecha al tismach." This is what Shmuel was telling everybody constantly, right? And now Yesh Garsin in pen, which is the pen is the gears for the text, the version that we have. Why? What's the reason you shouldn't do this? Pen yira Hashem v'ra beinav v'ashim alav apo charn apo lo namer. It didn't say he's going to be anger. He'll be angry. No, me alav apo. It's going to be turned upon you. Melamed is teaching us shemoichlei lo al kol avonosav, that he, the one that you're being happy over his downfall, that one who's down and out, he is going to be receiving a complete pardon for all of his sins. And with this, now Shmuel is teaching us a tremendous insight. It means to say, that when Hashem sees that someone is happy with the downfall of his enemy, the enemy shall be pardoned for everything he's done wrong. And he'll get up, and he's down. Up until the time you were happy about his downfall, he was down and out. But with your happiness over his being down and out, he's going to get up.
It's over.
That's the oynish for being happy. That's the oynish that a person gets from that his own enemy that he was so happy about a minute ago was down and out, is now up and out and after him again because of his being happy. Now we're going to go where we started the Chafetz Chaim yesterday. That's what we'll pick up now, because he goes even more. He goes into even more detail about this. Let's again see the Chafetz Chaim. Yaakov, would you like to read it?
This is the
bottom
source.
page 1, the bottom source.
ומה מאוד צריך האדם להזהיר שלא יהיה שמח במפלט חבריו And what?
And how much?
How much? How much does a man need to be careful not to rejoice in the downfall of his colleague or of his
and in his disgrace. You have two things: with the downfall of his friend, and in his disgrace. And then normally, with some kind of a downfall, there's some kind of disgrace.
And his disgrace. Kama shekatuv naful oivecha al tismach uvkashlo al yagel livecha and yireh Hashem the Rabbi and Rabbi Governor. And as it is written, or the kamo, like it is written, and the downfall of your enemy, don't rejoice, and the stumbling, don't be glad in your heart, lest Hashem see, and if the evil in his eyes, the ha'avon hazeh, and this sin, me'orer me'od et koach hadin al ha'adam. This arouses the strength of judgment upon man.
So now this ties very clearly in with Rabbeinu Yonah. That last statement that Rabbeinu Yonah mentioned, that's an einish. It's an einish for the person who's happy over his enemy's downfall. It's an einish. It's a punishment for him. And this now the Chafetz Chaim is going further in saying that by that act of being happy with the enemy's downfall, right, that incites and arouses the power of judgment on a person. Just like we said, we all realize in this situation, the kids in the house, one of the kids is getting a little bit of a scolding, or a little bit of a patch, a little bit of a hit from the father, right? And the other kids are in the corner there, laughing away, snickering, right? So what does the father do? Turns around and starts hitting them, right? He has to chastise one of his kids. Doesn't mean the others should be happy about that. They should be crying for mercy. Tati, don't hit our brother. Don't hit our brother. Leave him alone, please. That's what they should be doing. But do you see that happening? Well, that would be an unusual occurrence. You don't see that happening. The question we haven't gotten to the depth of this question. Why are people like that? Why are people, when a guy is down, when someone's down, why are they happy about a guy being down? We haven't gotten to the bottom of this. What's going on in us that kids are acting that way, right? With their own brothers and sisters, right?
That's this week's parsha.
Go ahead.
To overcome your midos, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
To overcome your midos. This is the same thing. Pinchas, it says that Pinchas was a kanai from his whole life, but he never used it.
Right.
He only used it this time, and that's why it was such a great thing, because he was able to overcome his midah. Okay, so the same thing here. You're not supposed to not like the whole Torah is after lecha kamocha, right?
Right.
So if you enjoy somebody else's pain,
right,
then you're not after lecha kamocha.
Right. So you're saying a tremendous thing. You probably realize how great a thing you're saying. That people are given midos, characteristics, personality traits, right, in order that she overcome these things. Right?
I forgot who said it. I just heard it the last couple of days. That people were born just to overcome their midos.
That's the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon. Maybe others say it as well. The Vilna Gaon says that the whole of Torah is shviras hamidus, breaking a person's midas, and im loy lama ni chaim, and if not, why am I alive? Why am I alive? He comes into this world. He's the same thing that he was born as he leaves, right? And he hasn't changed. So what has he accomplished? Even if he's done a lot of mitzvahs, right? Okay, Hashem's going to give him credit for each and every absolute mitzvah he does. He's going to get 100% pure credit for each and every one of the mitzvahs he does. Every word of Torah he learns, every penny of tzedakah he gives, every amount of chesed that he does, every time he matzahs, every time he sat in the sukkah, every time he heard shofar, every mitzvah is going to get 100% pure reward for each and every mitzvah. But if he didn't change his midos, right? It's like you went to Disney World, you paid your thing, but you didn't go on the rides. Maybe you took pictures, did all kinds of things, but you didn't go on the rides.
How did Pinchas break his midas?
So because his kanoias, his zealousness, right? He had it with him all the time. That didn't mean he was going around using it, right, without because the only time he had that meter that was appropriate to use that meter, that characteristic, was that one particular time. And that's the time he understood that that's what he had to be used for.
But he wasn't breaking it. It was his
That's the whole point. He was breaking it every day of his life. He was breaking it.
Oh,
He was
restraining himself.
Yeah, by restraining. He was a person that could have maybe, he would see the slightest thing wrong with somebody. He could be. I'm not sure. I don't know. You can't criticize. They were talking about people we have no associations with them. But the point was that he had that meter. He was alive and kicking within him, but he was restraining. He was controlling it. And he realized that it had to be used only, just because you have the atomic bomb doesn't mean you drop it every time the guy looks cross-eyed at you.
Got it.
Okay. So, yeah, that's it. We're given midos, right, in order that we have to break them. So that's could be that Shmuel Navi, Shmuel Katan was constantly saying this. Because he saw people, as we saw that the Rebbeinu, so he saw that people were being tripped up by this avera, this sin. Because that's seemingly the tev of a person. So that is the tev of a person, but our job is not to be like that. When you see somebody down and out, you have to see, like, what can you do to help the situation? Or like we learned from the at least don't look to see, because we saw earlier the previous statement, right, with the smichas of the two statements, right, that was here in the Derech Chaim, the Maral said. What was it? This statement of Shmuel Katan associated to the previous statement, right? Because it says b'shas kalkola, al tishtadel neroso b'shas kalkola. At the time of the person's being disgraced, he's becoming down and out, right? The time the person's kalkola is down, when he's getting down and out, don't make efforts to go see him, because obviously that's also a person's teva. That's a person's tendency to do that. Right? So these things we have to break. These things, that's why we're given these seemingly undesirable traits and personality characteristics. Right? So that's the point. So let's go further with the Chafetz Chaim.
Yesh bo koach le'hachariv, and he has strength to be ruined,
to be destroyed, meaning of destruction. Meaning this koach that's being aroused by a person being happy over someone else's bad fortune. That koach is a destructive power. It's a destructive power. People wonder why all kinds of things happening to them or other people. They have no idea of how many. Most of everything what's happening to them is basically coming from their own cause, to a greater or lesser degree.
Amash kamo avodah zarah.
The Chafetz Chaim is equating this tendency that people have to be happy when someone else is down and out to avodah zarah. So now, what is avodah? How is that supposed? Before you get to the explanation, how are we supposed to understand on our own? How is that supposed to be equated to avodah zarah?
I can see the other way that the word avodah zarah is equated to it, because no, I'm thinking. I'm sorry. Scratch that. I'm thinking of lashon hara, not avodah zarah.
Okay. Now again, let's just think for a moment. How do we understand? What's our? Let's try and come up with a working definition. What's avodah zarah?
Avodah zarah is when you adopt a philosophy that legitimizes your misbehavior.
Okay, that's.
So my religion is just as good as your religion. My religion says it's okay to go to a prostitute.
Okay, you want to do something and you're looking for a way out, so you do that. So the avodah zarah is basically you're trying to through an excuse of using some other type of a deity, idol. You're trying to validate your rebellion against the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. So it's basically avodah zarah is basically a rebellion against the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. A denial of the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, Chas v'Sholom, rebellion against the HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Right? That's because Svarim speak about this. Could be even Chazal that avodah zarah is the way that people seek to permit their disobedience. They're trying to permit their disobedience, and so they're saying, okay, we'll worship this, and this one, he lets us do this. Like you go back to all the Greek deities. They were having a grand old time with each other, right? Because the people wanted to have a grand old time with each other. So they made up these fantasies, these deities that were having a grand old time with each other. So maybe they were into sports, so they made a deity that was into sports. So that's the way it was. They used these deities in order to foster their disobedience and to allow themselves free reign for the Yitzhak, and within the guise of what they call religion. So Avodah is basically the denial of HaKodesh Baruch Hu, and many times it's simply for the fulfillment of the person's own pleasures. Yeah? So how is this supposed to be equated to Avodah Zarah? Let's see what the Chafetz Chaim Zatzal says to us.
Came Matzina b'divrei Chazal, and thus we find in the words of Chazal, Ki be'et Chorban Habayit, in the time of the destruction of the temple, V'shenichnes Abraham Avinu l'Beit HaMikdash. When Abraham Avinu entered, so this I don't understand, how could Abraham enter the Beit HaMikdash after it was destroyed?
But it says at the time of the Beit HaMikdash. Okay, first of all, there are two things. Okay, first of all, you have to realize there's a Beit HaMikdash here in this world, and there's a Beit HaMikdash here in the spiritual world. You have to realize that Abraham Avinu, right, was most likely in the spiritual form, not in the flesh form, right? And even if it would be, say, materialized into the flesh form, right? So it could be at the time of the destruction, Abraham Avinu was there. Okay.
ושאלו הקדוש ברוך הוא מה לדידי בביתי. הקדוש ברוך הוא asked Avraham Avinu what my beloved?
I think so. What
has happened to my cherished, my beloved house, perhaps?
Abraham is asking Hashem?
Yes, Abraham is asking Hashem, what's with my beloved in my house? And I think he was asking about Klal Yisrael. Where are my Jewish people? Where are my sons? Where are my beloved ones in my house? They're usually here. They're usually doing the voda. They're usually here sacrificing and doing the voda Hashem. Where are my beloved ones that are usually bebesi? I believe that's what it means.
He answered, Galu B'nei Levin Umot HaOlam, is on account of what they uncovered, the sons of Levin. My children, Banai, my children, Levin, to understand Umot HaOlam, the nation of the world.
The being amongst, meaning Hashiv, Hashem answered with name Ma Golo B'ni the Bain Umasol. When we say Hashem answered, and for what reason were my sons exiled amongst the Goyim? They were name Ma. For what reason Golo exiled B'nei my sons the Bain and Umasol amongst the nations of the world? What and see. Right.
Shivlo, Kodesh Baruch Hu, מפני שעובדים עבודה זרה ושמחים במפלטן אלו על אלו. And it is because they did avodah zarah and rejoiced in the downfall of one another.
What's Hashivlo?
He answered him. Hashivlo, he answered him. Because Hashem answered Avraham Avinu.
And the Hashivlo. So Hashem answered, and he said, "V'nei she'ovdim avodah zarah, v'smechim b'mekoloson elu al elu," because they were worshiping idols, and they were joyous in the downfall of them to them. And we're talking about Jews at this point. This medrash is probably talking more.
That's after the Churban.
So it's putting it in the same sentence,
Yeah.
but it's not equating the two.
Well, that's what, no, it's an equation.
It is
equation. They're on equal standing. I mean, there are two main reasons why we went to the Gullus, two main reasons why we went to Gullus. No one ever mentions this reason, by the way.
No, this is, I was going to ask you, that's not one of the three reasons that we know.
Yeah, I mean, the first bias was, right, was Avodah Zarah, Gimel Urias, and Shvikus Dami. Those are
Right.
the three major reasons why the Korban Abayis for the first temple was destroyed. The second one was
Sinachina.
Sinachina, right? So
Right.
here's Avodah Zarah, and this is probably talking about the Bias Rishon. I imagine it's not.
Or it might be comparing the two, Rabbi.
Yeah.
Because Patan Elu ve'elu Sinat China, and Avodah Zarah was the first temple. So
Could
it could be that he's combining both of them together. He's saying Avodah Zarah, it combines, because he's matching Avodah Zarah to the downfall of your friends, so which is Sinasino.
Could be. If he's talking about both destructions,
And leaving out the other two reasons.
leaving out the other reasons. Okay, that will. I'm going to try and since Chavetz Chaim's quoting a medrash, obviously he doesn't quote it. Doesn't give a citation where the medrash is. He says Divri Chazal. It's obviously a Divri Chazal, a Gemara or a medrash. I'll try and look it up. Try and find out more about it. Okay, I got myself more homework.
So this, my comment about the same sentence is that this is saying that they're equivalent in terms of their seriousness,
Right.
but it's not saying that Avodah Zarah and happiness over your enemy are the same thing,
Well, the Chavetz Chaim say they both have the power to destroy.
right?
The brother, that's what he said. They both have the power to destroy. And you see that from this statement. And why were the Jews sent into Golos? For two specific reasons, according to this Chazal.
But
The Avodah
earlier it
Zarah,
says,
and also Simcha over the Nephalos of Oyevecha.
but earlier it says Mamash Kamo Avon Avodah Zarah.
In terms of its,
Actually, it's like
right, we can explain this. We don't have time to explain it all today so much, but it's first of all, in terms of its power to destroy, its destructive power, it's the same.
okay.
And we're also going to explain. Let's finish up the Chavetz Chaim. If we have a minute or two, maybe I'll try and jump it and give you the one of the answers over here for that point. Okay.
Haresh Hashu, Baruch Baruch Hu,
Hashva.
Hashva, oh,
He
he equated.
equated, right.
Hare Hashva, Baruch Baruch Hu, Avon La'avon Avodah Zarah. Yeah, there you have it.
And so therefore a person shouldn't be doing all this. Now the Chavetz Chaim is going to finish off with one line now. What should a person be doing instead? Right?
Ela Yitbonen Ha'adam Tamid Ba'atzmo. Rather, he should try to understand himself always, man. Shalafi Avnotav, Chasronotav, since Shalafi, according to his sins and his lackings, his shortcomings.
Exactly, beautiful. Shortcomings.
Who Ra'ui, it is fitting. I'm not sure what Gimel Kaf.
Gam came also.
Gam Ken, Leganut, Vaziyun, and also by Ganut is like arrogance. Disgrace.
Ganus is his disgrace, and
Vaziyun is like shame.
shame. Yeah, shame. Okay, so because really, meaning, what's this whole point? A guy's down and out. The father's hitting his son. The other kids are happy in the corner. What are you happy about this guy having hard times for? What are the brothers and sisters happy about their brother getting hit for? What are they happy about? What they should be doing, the Chavetz Chaim is teaching us, is look at all the things that you have wrong in yourself and think that you really know better, right? You really know better than what? They're the brothers and sisters in the corner, they're such tzaddikim that they don't deserve to get passed from the father, but they also have their times, right? So what are they so happy about him getting his? They think they're much better? Right? That's the whole point about Lot's wife. She got turned to salt. She had no right to look back. She was in the same boat as them. It says just because it's Avram Avinu, they were taken out of Sodom. she looked back, she got the same ownership as the people back in Sodom, maybe even worse, who knows, right? So that's what a person should be doing. He should be looking into himself when he sees somebody else down and out. He should say, well, this could just as well be happening to me. I'm no better than him. What makes me think I'm so much better than him? Think about what's all the things that are wrong with me. Everybody, each according to their own level.
But maybe even there's even more depth to it than that. That he should see the misdeeds of the person and ask himself, am I looking in a mirror? Should I learn from the misdeeds of the person I see that I do the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even to say that to the extent that he does, like I was saying the other day about that woman who was so zealous when the bums came in, that maybe the extent to which he's happy is greater. The greater he's like the person that he's witnessing, the greater happiness he's experiencing.
So what's the happenings what's the source of his happiness?
And he recognizes that he's getting away with it.
Mm-hmm. A good point.
He's getting away with whatever it is that this person's doing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that could be very good. I'm glad you said that, but that's going to allow me to jump to what's this connection between Avodah Zorah, idol worship, and this being happier with someone else's. Because if he thinks that he's somehow any better than the other person, or if he thinks even worse that Hashem is watching out for him, but he's not watching me and what's wrong with me, it's Kiyu, he doesn't see what's wrong with me. I'm happy because if a person really thinks that Hashem doesn't know what's wrong with him, right, then that's a denial of God's abilities. That's a type of Avodah Zorah. That's a type of Avodah Zorah. So it has the same power to destroy just like Avodah Zorah does. Because we're going to have to go into this in more depth tomorrow. We're going to chazer over this. It's appropriate. We're doing this at the time of the 3 weeks, talking about the Korban and the sources of the Korban. And then they see clearly the Chavetz Chaim is bringing this statement of Shmuel and Katan, and that's why he was saying it. Remember, Shmuel and Katan, right? Shmuel and Katan was living at the time. I saw that he was considered to be a Chaver of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva lived most likely at the time of the Korban, certainly after the generation or two right after the Korban.
It has to be that time.
Right?
Because his father-in-law supplied the wood of it. So that was during the destruction. So they had to be at that time together.
That's right. So we're talking about at the time of the Korban. So if Shmuel Katan was going around continually telling this to people, right? Whether it was just before, during, or right after the Korban, but it has a very direct connection to the Korban of Beis Hamikdash. So we'll be talking about that more tomorrow.
Right.
Good.